Hello, and Happy New Year. Recently, I read in a local newspaper article that 2022 may be the most highly anticipated new year of our lives. It seems people have been wishing away 2021 for months, and 2020 before that. People are ready to put this challenging time behind us and move on. However, as we approach a new year, I am mindful that it is not the changing of a calendar year that will bring us a new beginning. It is our own resilience, perseverance, and resolve that will propel us forward. Thank you for joining me today. My name is Dr. Wanda Creel, and it is my honor to serve as a leader coach with Huron Studer Education. At the beginning of a new year, people often make resolutions for what they see as needed changes in their lives. I don't know about you, but I can tell you that every January brings a renewed commitment to eating healthier and getting more exercise. However, Franklin Covey says that 1/3 of resolutions don't make it out of January. Since many resolutions have to do with health and fitness, I looked at the probability of keeping those resolutions. According to Strava, an app that tracks fitness activity, January the 17th is the day when most resolutions fail. The reason? People either set goals that are not attainable or they do not create an action plan and a method for monitoring their progress. Coincidentally, the steps that experts recommend we take to ensure we are successful with our resolutions are very similar to the strategies implemented to achieve identified goals in organizations. Our Connect to Purpose for this webinar is to identify strategies that can be implemented resulting in a positive return on conducting mid-year reviews and making appropriate adjustments. During our time together, I will reference the Studer Education 9 principles. These principles focus work aimed at helping partner organizations develop a success-based organizational culture, driven by evidence. They are guiding beliefs and standards of practice that support excellence in any organization. They identify the leader behaviors that maximize performance, support organizational excellence, and are essential to creating a success-based culture. Many of you may already have your core values and beliefs identified. I am confident that as you look at the 9 principles, you will see similarities to concepts you have chosen to communicate your organization's purpose. Ask yourself which of your values are aligned with the principles we will highlight during the webinar. Today, we will primarily focus on strategies that are aligned with Principle 2, measure the important things. This principle encourages continuously tracking progress to achieve results with an improvement mindset. We will also be focusing on Principle 8, communicate at all levels, which empowers leaders to build connections so that people know why what they do matters. In a previous 9 Principles in Action webinar, Dr. Deanna Ashby encouraged principals to pause and reflect. She encouraged us to make reflection a priority. In order to improve as a team or an individual, we need to pause and reflect or examine what is getting us positive results, what's not working, and what actions and adjustments will get us closer to the intended outcome. One of the ways that you can capture your reflections is through a plus-delta review, utilizing the suggested questions. This tool provides a quick way to gather formative data on any type of action and can serve as a great planning tool. The feedback garnered will help determine where we are in the implementation phase and inform adjustments based on identified priorities. As we return from a much-deserved break, we find ourselves at a mid-year point with the opportunity to study our results thus far and determine what, if any, adjustments are needed to reach our goals. Today, we will discuss continuous improvement processes that assist teams in gathering more accurate information, resulting in informed decision-making. I would like to introduce you or remind you, whichever is the case, of the Stoplight Report. The Stoplight Report is a powerful tool that is aligned with Principle 8, communicate at all levels. It is easy to lose track of what was shared in back-to-back meetings, and even more importantly, what you promised to do to support others. You most likely have numerous projects that you are working on simultaneously. The Stoplight Report is an easy-to-understand tool that can help keep track of information, monitor progress, and transparently communicate with your team and those you serve. As we discuss making the most of mid-year adjustments, please keep in mind the value and ease of utilizing a Stoplight Report. At the mid-year point, it is crucial to review the district strategic plan and determine which goals are on track for being met at the end of the year. Using the Stoplight Report, you can create a visual of what is working well, along with details on lessons learned for future replication. The Stoplight Report can also assist with compiling problem areas and/or areas that need to be adjusted. The Stoplight Report can be cascaded from the district or university strategic plan to the school, department, and classroom level. Teachers can use the Stoplight Report at the mid-year to review student learning objectives and adjust instruction to meet the needs for individual students. As a district superintendent, I use the Stoplight Report as a shorthand project management tool to create agendas and track progress on action items with the executive cabinet and individuals that I met with on a regular basis. We had a reference point to look back at and to check in on our status of completion and if there were any barriers to completing our task. At the end of each year, I also had a detailed reference to assist in planning the timeline for the next year. It allowed our team to conduct our own PDSA, or Plan, Do, Study, Act cycle. Why might you consider using a Stoplight Report? Communicating the results of a reflection, data analysis, or rounding exercise, which we will talk about in a few moments, are vital to keep teams aligned and committed to the organization's success. As we think about progress monitoring, I am reminded of Principle 2, measure the important things. This principle encourages continuously tracking progress to achieve results with an improvement mindset. Progress monitoring is the process of evaluating progress toward a performance target. As organizational leaders, we recognize the importance of progress monitoring. Oftentimes, when organizations establish strategic initiatives, they do so in 5 or 3-year strategic improvement plans. It is critical to recognize the importance of breaking a multiple year plan down into yearly goals at the organizational, school, department, and even individual level. January is an ideal time to look at mid-year data to assist with progress monitoring. Available data may include demographic data, as you are seeing an increase in transient students or more English language learners that may need a different type of support. Attendance, both student and teacher. Consider that if a student were to miss 2 days of school per month, that would equal 108 hours per year. If the pattern of poor attendance continues from kindergarten through 12th grade, a student would miss the equivalent of 11 months of instruction from kindergarten through 12th grade. That's an entire year. Consider constructing an attendance contract with students and families and working to educate families on the importance of their child being at school. Additionally, if a student or students are performing below level, the cause may not lie with the student, but rather a teacher who has had to be out more than normal and an instructional disruption has occurred. Discipline data can tell us who may have been out of the classroom for behavior issues. This data can also be a trigger for further investigation into social and emotional behavior concerns. It is important to conduct a review of first semester grades from the perspective of student failure. What is needed to bridge the instructional gap for the student? What supports need to be provided? What opportunities for recapturing course credit need to be built into the schedule? I also encourage us to look at the data and see if there are teachers that have a larger percentage of failures. Is there a need for additional professional learning, resources, or support? Universal screener assessments are formative assessments that allow us to do a comparative analysis of student performance and classroom-to-classroom performance. A formative assessment allows us to see how students are performing and adjust accordingly before a summative assessment. As we analyze the data and begin to conduct a root cause analysis, I encourage you to look at the school and classroom schedules and at the outcomes as a result of specific instructional programs, like after-school tutoring or a computer-based instructional program. This, of course, is not an exhaustive list. The data should be broken down and triangulated when possible. Triangulation analyzes results of the same study using different methods of data collection and providing for differing perspectives for understanding a problem. If we have processes for continually progress monitoring the A, B, C's, and D, attendance, behavior, classroom success, and data-driven instructional supports, we can consistently review the data and make adjustments as needed throughout the year. Let's go back and think about how the Stoplight Report can help us with the progress monitoring data analysis. Where the data is indicating growth, you can highlight the data in green or yellow showing success or in progress, and what instructional strategies are yielding the results. Where the strategies are not producing the desired results, you can highlight in red. Another way to lead to better understanding of the cause of successful green strategies and those that need improvement, or red strategies, is a root cause analysis. One of the best ways to get to the root cause is by using the 5 whys continuous improvement method. The 5 whys begin with first stating the problem, followed by a sequence of asking why in response to each answer. By asking why 5 times, we can drill down to the root cause. Once the root cause has been determined, an action step to improve the problem or prevent it from occurring in the future can be developed. Progress monitoring measured results can help us narrow our focus on the strategic actions that matter and that require our greatest responsiveness. There are so many factors that are pulling on the attention of leaders today. In the midst of navigating through COVID-19 protocols, overtaxed employees, and following up on the latest TikTok challenges, we cannot lose sight of our core business, creating an environment where students can prepare for their future. Whether we are facing immense disruption or not, combating learning loss or the need for more challenging learning opportunities, the development of a clear problem definition and understanding of the root cause is needed. It is necessary to determine what success will look like and the associated actions that we will take to achieve success. At the mid-year point, when teams focus on the critical improvement measures to monitor at a disciplined cadence in short cycles of 30, 60, or 90 days, the team can discuss strategic actions before the barriers become a roadblock to addressing student needs. Engaging in improvement cycles requires continuous inquiry, problem solving, and the testing of ideas. It has been my experience when monitoring short cycle action plans that checking in on a weekly basis can help ensure the momentum is moving forward. In a couple of districts, when working to turn around schools that were not performing to their highest potential, a team of district leaders would meet with the school-based leadership team weekly to discuss strategies and the steps being implemented in order to see increased achievement. The meeting served as a progress monitoring tool, but they also demonstrated to the school leadership team that they were not in this alone. Rounding is a strategy that can help build relationships and improve processes. In the context of our discussion today, rounding can help us make the connection to our why. Rounding responses can serve as the link between the data and the people that are making the difference with the data. For those of you that are hearing about rounding for the first time, it is the consistent practice of asking specific questions of key stakeholders such as students, employees, both certified and classified, and families to obtain actionable information and build relationships. Many of us are in the practice of asking our team members questions every day, but rounding has a formalized scheduling approach with guidance on specific follow-through. As one of my fellow coach colleagues reminded me recently, rounding at mid-year is a positive way to re-engage team members that may have lost their momentum while also gathering information on processes and procedures that may need a minor adjustment. I encourage you to think of rounding as another form of formative data that can be gathered from conversations with employees across the organization. Although there are many ways to round, one recommendation is to take the mid-year point of the year to ask employees the following questions. What is working well? Do you have the resources you need to do your job? What ideas do you have for improvement? And is there anyone who has been especially helpful to you lately? As employees answer the questions, we can use the Stoplight Report to gather responses. By capturing employee responses in the format of what is working well, or green, what is in progress, or a procedure that has mixed feelings, in yellow, and what is not working well, in red. At the end of the rounding exercise, we can use the constructive feedback from employees to make informed adjustments. If we use the Stoplight Report to track our progress on employee feedback, we are demonstrating that we value our team members' opinions and want to create an engaging work environment. Our Stoplight Report may have items that we have successfully completed in green, items that are in progress in yellow, and items that we have not made progress on or are not going to be able to move forward with, indicated in red. An important factor of the items listed in red is to also include the reason why the item has not or will not be addressed. Although we may want to forget about what has transpired over the past couple of years, none of our days are disposable. We find ourselves today at a crossroads, so to speak. We can't erase the first portion of the school year, and there are so many accomplishments for us to celebrate. However, we do have the opportunity to course correct and make any mid-year adjustments that will help us provide greater clarity and focus on prioritized actions geared at producing results. One of my favorite poems is The Dash by Linda Ellis. It has always caused me to pause and reflect, and often plan and take actions for change. When discussing school years instead of calendar years, we always have a dash in the middle. For example, this is the 2021-2022 school year. What are we going to do with our dash at this mid-year point? As I read the poem, The Dash, I hope that it encourages each of us to pause and reflect on what actions and adjustments we might need to make, and that it ignites in us the knowledge that what we do with our dash makes all the difference. I read of a man who stood to speak at the funeral of a friend. He referred to the dates on the tombstone from the beginning to the end. He noted that first came the date of birth and spoke the following date with tears. But he said what mattered most of all was the dash between those years. For that dash represents all the time that they spent alive on earth. And now only those who loved them know what that little line is worth. For it matters not how much we own, the cars, the house, the cash. What matters is how we live and love and how we spend our dash. So think about this long and hard. Are there things you'd like to change? For you never know how much time is left that can still be rearranged. If we could just slow down enough to consider what's true and real, and always try to understand the way other people feel, and be less quick to anger and show appreciation more, and love the people in our lives like we've never loved before. If we treat each other with respect and more often wear a smile, remembering this special dash might only last a little while. So when the eulogy is being read with your life's actions to rehash, would you be proud of the things they say about how you spent your dash? We won't have a eulogy at the end of the school year. What we will have are student achievement results and measures around employee, family, and community engagement. As we conclude our conversation about New Year, New You, I encourage us to be kind to ourselves, allow ourselves to make mistakes and to learn from them. That's really what New Year, New You is about, having the courage to step out and make a change based on our responses to our reflective questions. If we focus on continuously improving and recognize that the data we gather is telling the story of the students and the people we serve, then we will be modeling what Ralph Waldo Emerson said: life is a journey, not a destination. I thank you for being a learning partner with us today. Please reach out to the team at Studer Education if there is any way that we can be of assistance to you and your team. We wish you a joyous 2022.